how to migrate from YNAB4 to the new YNAB without losing your shit or your data. I'm Elizabeth Starharden. This is a brief overview video of the migration process from YNAB4 to the new YNAB. If you want more resources on this, go to my website, esharden.com/migrate, and I'll have more materials there. This is going to be an overview video. I'm going to touch on each of the steps that you need to take in order to migrate your data from YNAB4 into the new YNAB. YNAB's official position on this is that you should do a fresh start. Now, they do let you migrate the data. I'll show you how they do that. They have a built-in function that works quite well. But then once you move your data over, it's going to be a big, hot mess. And what YNAB wants you to do is migrate it over so you have it, and then do a fresh start and start clean. I'm going to show you the steps that I took to migrate my data, clean it up, and then move forward all in the same data file. So we're going to get to the steps in just a second, but there are a couple of significant differences between YNAB4 and the new YNAB that you have to understand, because they are going to be some of the reasons why your data is so messed up. The first big difference is how income is handled. In YNAB4, you had two different types of income. You could have income for this month or income for next month. The new YNAB doesn't have those two different options. All income in the new YNAB is simply income to be budgeted. There's no more this month or next month. The second big difference is what I refer to as walled months. In YNAB4, you had each month set up as a column, and you could see them right next to each other, and you could see the impact of changes in one month and how they impacted the next month, whether you didn't budget to zero or whether you overspent or whether you over budgeted. You could see it encapsulated in a single month. So the third significant, and this is significant difference, is turning the arrow. In YNAB4, you might have had some categories in which you, quote, turned the arrow or turn the arrow right. This functionality is completely gone in the new YNAB. So if you had any months in which you turned the arrow, it's going to really significantly alter your numbers in the new YNAB and make a mess. The fourth difference is with credit cards. In YNAB4, credit card accounts were set up exactly the same way as checking account or cash accounts. Credit card just had a negative balance, whereas a checking account had a positive balance. But the programming was all the same. That's not the case in the new YNAB. The new YNAB, they have a special type of account, which is credit card, and it has very special programming built into it. This difference is significant because if you're bringing over a lot of credit card history from YNAB4, the new programming is going to make all of your history look different. Because it's programmed differently, it handles different things within your credit card differently. So a perfectly reconciled credit card account in YNAB4 with a clean history could look potentially extremely messy in the new YNAB. Step 1 is migrating your data. In YNAB4, they've built in a functionality that takes your YNAB4 data and migrates it to the new YNAB. And you get that by clicking in here to File and then using this link, Migrate to the new YNAB. Big green button here, Get Started. If you're brand new to the new YNAB, if you haven't played around in there yet, you'll want to go ahead and create a password here and click to start your free trial. But if you've already been playing around in the new YNAB, if you've created an account over there, then click I already have an account, and then use your already created password to sign in. So I've entered my password here. I'm going to click to sign in. So if you have more than one budget file, simply choose the one that you want to move right now. You can come back at any time and migrate additional budget files. So I'm going to choose my household budget here, and then you click the big green button. Now I have about 6 years worth of data in YNAB4, and so this is going to take a couple of minutes for this migration process to finish. And we're done. So now we have another big green button that invites us to go ahead and launch our new better than ever YNAB. If you already had any budgets in YNAB, your new migrated budget will be the first in line here. So click that and open it up. Okay, at first glance, you're going to notice a whole bunch of colors that don't look right. So I have a lot of yellow, I have a lot of red. So it's a mess. There are a couple steps you need to take before you can actually start cleaning up the numbers. You have to clean up the budget and the accounts first. Everything that could go wrong in the migration process from YNAB4 into the new YNAB, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in my budget. So I think I have an example within my migration of everything that you could possibly run into in your migration. Your budget, you might not see any of these, you might only see one, but I'm going to cover all of them. All right, so if you look at my budget, you'll notice first that I have a category here called Lost and Found. So these are categories that represent closed accounts, and I don't need these categories. So I can go ahead and delete each one of these. So if you have a Lost and Found category, you can go ahead and delete all of the categories within that, and then delete that category group of Lost and Found. So if you had any money in those categories or those envelopes, and don't worry about just deleting it with that money still in there, because the money right now is a mess. That's going to be the last thing actually that we clean up. This next step in cleanup deals with credit cards. If you don't have credit cards, then you can skip this step and this hasn't created any mess. But if you have credit cards, this is where most of your mess is coming from. So this step is really important. Because our goal is to clean up the data in YNAB so that we can move forward, the best, easiest, fastest way to clean up this data is to convert all of your existing credit card history to a checking account. And that way, all of that data will mimic exactly the type of account that it was sitting in YNAB4. So I am going to first convert these to checking accounts. So I will come in here and create a new checking account. I'm going to give it a nickname that's slightly different from my current credit card account name. So here I have Kroger. I'm going to call this the new Kroger. Now you have to put in a balance, otherwise you don't get the next button. So always put 0. And here I'm going to go straight to creating a second account. And again, this is going to be checking. I'm going to call it new Amex. And again, give it a 0 balance so that my next button comes up. The next step after you create this new checking account with the credit card name is to come in to the credit card account. You can tell the difference between a checking account, or basically between a credit card account and any other type of account, by looking up here in the right hand corner. This one has a payment, so it shows me that this is a credit card type account, as opposed to if I come in here to a checking account, I don't have any kind of payment button up in the right hand corner. So I come into a credit card account. The first thing I need to do is make sure that I can see all of the transactions, and I do that by clicking Show All. The next thing to do is select all of the transactions, the entire history of transactions in this account. And you can do that simply by checking up here in this header column. Next, you go to the Edit menu, come down and select Move to Account and choose the new checking account. So you're looking for that new name with the credit card name in there. So here I choose the new Amex. You know that the process is done once this account balance up here shows 0. You can click in there, it has no transactions, there's nothing in here. At this point now, you can delete this account. Now you want to repeat those steps for every single credit card account that you have left in YNAB. And you know which ones are credit card accounts by looking in your budget here and looking for this credit card payments category group. Every time you convert a credit card type account to a checking account and then delete that account, it disappears from YNAB's category group. So eventually you'll have nothing in here, and YNAB will delete the category group name all by itself. Now that our lost and found and credit card accounts are gone, it's time to move on to the next step. This is a simple one. You want to simply unhide all of your hidden categories. And now we're ready to start cleaning up the actual numbers. Start this by navigating to your earliest month in your budget file. You do that by clicking this down arrow and then clicking to the left until you see your the first month that you can hover over here. You'll see that you don't have any data in this first month. They kind of give you a buffer month in the beginning of your budget file. There's no income and there's no spending in this month. So go ahead and move forward in time to the next month. In my case now, this is December. So depending on whether or not you came into YNAB buffered will determine whether or not you have any spending in this month. I came in buffered, and so I only have income in December of 12, and I don't have any spending in this month. So there's one more quick step that you need to do before we actually roll up our sleeves and start working with numbers. First is come up here into the category group. We're going to create a new category group and just call this migration. And within this new category group, create one new category. And I'm just going to call this big hot mess. It's whatever you want to call it. You just need one category here to put everything in. I'll show you how it works in a second. So once you have these two, the new category group and the new category within that category group, now it's time to look at our numbers. In this month, you can see I didn't have any spending, so I don't have to clean up my spending, but I have to clean up my income. And the two places you're looking here are either line 4 or the to be budgeted. Basically, we're going to make sure that our funds for December matches our budgeted in December. Remember, I said at the very beginning of this video, YNAB changed the way income is handled. There is no this month and next month. In this case now, I need to give these dollars, I need to budget this money. I need to give it jobs in December because I brought it in December. So these were all of my December starting balances. So in this case, I'm going to just go by this number over here. You know what? I have to turn off my toolkit. Okay, sorry about that. That's a different tutorial, completely different topic, different series of tutorials. All right, so this is what it looks like. I am looking at the first line in here needs to always match the third line. The second line and the fourth line always need to be 0. So I'm simply going to take this number that in YNAB4 that I pushed forward intentionally, and I'm going to budget that in my big hot mess category. And now that money is tucked away in this temporary category, temporary envelope, just to clean up our numbers. And now I can move forward. So these numbers match. First and third match. Second and fourth are 0. To be budgeted is 0. And I don't have any category spending to fiddle with in this month. December is clean. It's time to move forward to January. And you can see in January, I have some red up here in to be budgeted. I have red in uncategorized transactions, and I have some green in my envelopes here. We want all of that to be gray in our budget, and we need this to be 0. We need this to be 0 and our fourth line to be 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean up these uncategorized transactions. And for me, this goes back to those, to my credit cards. So all of my pre-YNAB debt. In YNAB4, it was pre-YNAB debt. And all of these balances these starting balances kind of got lost for some reason in my migration. Now, you might not see that in yours. I have had clients who have credit cards, but they didn't get the lost and found, and they didn't get these uncategorized transactions. But if you get them, here's what you do with them. We're going to come in here, and this is my opening balance on this particular credit card. So this is a to be budgeted. I'm going to take that out of the money that I have available to be budgeted. That's the same thing that you did in YNAB4, but the language is slightly different. So then I just need to clean up every single one of these uncategorized transactions. And in my case, every single one of those is my starting balance. So I simply edit all of these to have that starting balance come out of my to be budgeted. All right, once all those starting balances are categorized, then that warning message, that extra line up here, disappears. And now we need to clean up the budget screen. We need everything to just be 0. So the easiest way to do that is to come up here and click on category. That selects all of your categories all at once. Now deselect your migration category group, which also deselects your big hot mess category. You don't want to empty out that envelope. And then in the far right hand pane, the inspector pane, this light blue pane, you click on set available amounts to 0. Now every single envelope is 0. So what the program has done is it simply has filled in my allocation column to match exactly with my expense column so that every envelope is at 0. Now once that's cleaned up, we come up here to the top and we're just going to assign any income that I didn't budget this month. We're going to assign it into our big hot mess category. And after doing that, all of our envelopes are at 0. Our to be budgeted is at 0, and our first and third lines over here match. We have budgeted everything that we had available to budget in January. We have no overspending in December, and we have nothing budgeted in the future. So everything that came in January was budgeted in January. And now you're going to rinse and repeat these steps every single month. Now, likely at some point in your history, you're going to end up with a situation like I have right here on the screen, where instead of a green 0 and a number in to be budgeted in the future here, you're going to end up with a red number in to be budgeted, which simply means that you spent more this month than you brought in. So all I do here in this case, when your to be budgeted is red instead of green, is you merely type that number in here. Now it needs to be preceded by a negative because you're subtracting that from your carried balance in your big hot mess envelope. So this month now is clean, even though I had a big ugly red number up here. Now it looks good, and I can just keep going, move on to the next month, and start the same process all over again. Now at this point, the steps are exactly the same all the way up until the month before the current month. So right now I'm in October, so I would want to do this process all the way up to September of this year. And now the final step, that's translating or moving your YNAB category totals from YNAB4 into the new YNAB. Last month, what were your category totals? And you're just going to take them one by one by one. So here I'm going to look at my replacement funds here. I have $340 in my replace washing machine category. And what that looks like in the new YNAB, you're going to take that $340, use this move function in the new YNAB. clicking here, typing in how much you want to move of this total, and then choosing the category that you want to move it into. So I'm going to replace the washing machine, and that's $340. The next category is $40 in replace fridge. So again, I'm going to move $40 to replace fridge. And you're going to follow these steps category by category until your big hot mess envelope is empty. Now you can just go ahead and hide this category group. Now you cannot delete it because you'll undo everything that you just did, but you can archive it. And the very, very last step is to go ahead and navigate over to the current month. You should have money up here to be budgeted because that's your income for this month that you haven't yet allocated, and now budget to zero. So I hope you liked the video. I hope that it was informative to you. If you liked it, then please like the video. If you have any comments or questions, hit me up in the comments section, and consider subscribing to my video channel. That's the subscribe button down there, and if you click on the little bell icon next to it, you'll get a message every time I drop a new video. So until the next time, Elizabeth out.